piles of money to achieve high fidelity? In other words, do you have to be rich to be an audiophile? Let's discover it today. Okay guys, so during my audiophile journey, a lot of times, reasonably, I hear people claim that to be an audiophile you have to be rich, or in reverse, they're too poor to be audiophiles. And we have discussed about this preconception almost, a bias almost towards hi-fi geeks, audiophiles. And take a look at that video. Here is a link. You're going to find all the links in the video description. So you can already there start to understand, even looking at the comments, very interesting comments in that video about the snobby side of audiophile. But apart from that, there is something true in this assertion, in this statement, because I understand that when you just go through a magazine, or you watch YouTube, including me, or you take a look at hi-fi shows or things like that, the message is high fidelity is high-end, or in general, you have to spend a lot of money. The answer is absolutely no, not true at all. Okay? And I can state this because I have been through all the different stages, including high-end, as you know, which I'm currently carrying along in this phase of my life. But I've been down the budget hole, and I appreciate it probably even more than now, each little step, okay? When I found the right tweak, the right setting, the right component, or simply putting my hands on something that I was looking for a very long time. I mean, those are special moments, but apart from that, they did bring extreme high fidelity. In fact, today we're going to analyze this topic through 6 steps, six phases to better understand this concept. If you're interested, I hope you are. I think it's fun to discuss about these topics, not just do reviews one after the other or show records and things like that. So stay with me if you are interested in this type of this type of topic. Let's go. Point number 1, mindset, I would say. Don't worry, we're not going to be too new age here. We're going to go more in depth at the beef of the problem. But I want to start with the mindset, okay? You have to make sure that you are convinced, you must be convinced that your hi-fi set, in the moment you are enjoying it, is actually the best. Yes, because you did the best to achieve it. You spent as much as you could in that moment for those components. Clearly, you always know that you can do better. And that's the fun, but also the monkey on our shoulders, tapping us, driving us crazy to get more stuff, upgrades, and things like that. But once again, that's the second stage. We have to be aware that what we have now is actually the best we can do, the best we can have in our sets, in our environments, including all factors, not only economic, including the environment, including your companion, your life companion, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. A lot of elements that merge all together, your time itself, your neighbors. I mean, there's so many parameters that define this. So all these merge together and create what you have. The important is to have passion, that you enjoy listening to music. Number 1. Then you have fun trying to get the best reproduction of those records. High fidelity is faithful to the record, to the recording. Let's proceed. Point number 2, progress. Each step must and should be the best. Meaning that when you do an upgrade, or at least you do a purchase, or you simply exchange something, or you create something with your hands, at that point, it should be high fidelity for you. It should be a high point of your system, the highest. That's what I'm talking about, actually. It's important that you are progressing, you are developing, you are evolving, you are going a step above, which it doesn't mean it is objectively that way, okay? Not necessarily. Usually it is, meaning that everyone would say, yes, now it's better than before. Okay, but it's not only that. Because, for example, discovering new types of technology, different types of loudspeakers like a horn or tube amplifiers or vintage CD players, things that differ from what you have, may bring so much joy that at that point you are evolving, also in a different way, with experience. It's just to say at this step that make sure you are going in a direction and it's upwards, regardless of what type, but we must go upwards. Otherwise, if we're not interested in that, just get a Bose little boombox in the corner, or use the television. There's smart televisions, decent loudspeakers. Why not? No need. But if you are after high fidelity, also this aspect must be kept in mind. Let's proceed. Point number 3, maybe the most important, I would say. It's something that is always working in the background, but you always need and rely on. What is it? Knowledge. Little general, I know. Meaning that, first of all, you don't always have to hunt Class A products, those that have most reviews. I'm telling this also to myself, okay? I don't want to be the guru here. It's something that I also process in my mind, okay? Because a lot of times I bought stuff out of the hype, and it wasn't that great. Can I do an example? Sorry to say, but the Prima Luna. Ooh, it had so many raving reviews. And if now I looking backward to the things, some I presented on the channel, some I didn't, like the Master Sound or other tube-based amplifiers. Like, for example, now I have my Macintosh, and something else is coming up. You just sense that all that hype was made out of nothing. It came out of nowhere. I have no idea what was that referred to, and I fell for it. I remember one of my first hi-fi sets had this integrated amplifier, which had incredible, great reviews on all the magazines. And now when I listen it now, because I still haven't, I don't understand those incredible reviews. No, so review concept aside, knowledge, the point of knowledge is also to be informed, to get informed. You should enjoy that. Researching, trying to understand specific things of your environment, how to make it work properly, how to match components. And at that point, in some cases, you're going to find your own path, which is not going to be guided by reviewers, including me and YouTube. Absolutely, yes. Because maybe you enjoy a different type of sound. Maybe you like color. Maybe you like clinical, everything perfect and ultra detailed. Maybe you like vintage. Maybe you don't want to spend a dime and you do want to try to get something decent. Absolutely, great starting point, if not the final point. Hopefully not. As we said, progress is important and things like that. But if you try to teach yourself certain things, not necessarily textbooks, that helps. I've go down that way for some things, especially in recording. I'm studying recording techniques and things like that. I'm interested. I like that. But also other simple things like efficient loudspeakers, tubes, digital, because I get a lot of criticism on digital. And when you start to understand how digital really works, it's not only zeros and ones. As I said, for the simple fact that digital travels on by voltage, and voltage is analog. So already the whole concept of digital perfect crumbles apart. So all these little elements, and you can apply it for a multitude of things, are so interesting and helpful that automatically they will give you more options when you go out and hunt, choose, buy, purchase things for your system. Absolutely. Let's proceed. Okay, point number 4 is dedicated to tips, elements, processes, habits, things to do to have access to high fidelity material, high quality. Sometimes expensive, but not necessarily, as we said. Now, maybe before going in this, I want to highlight again that a lot of people say this, it's banal, I think, but clearly you do not have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars, of euro, wherever you are, to have a high fidelity setup. Absolutely. You can start out with something simple. Already, for example, if you're using near field listening, here is a link if you don't know what that is, you can buy smaller loudspeakers which cost less but very high quality, for example, and create a set dedicated to that. Maybe you're just a headphone guy, maybe you have nasty neighbors so you can use only that. Dive in, study, and get the best you can for that and for the money you're going to put inside, even at a starting level, you're a student. It's going to be so rewarding, and you're going to think, and it probably is, very, very faithful. Clearly, when you want to reach the pinnacle, you do have to spend some energy and also some money. We can't deny that, clearly. But that's the verdicts. And I want to say that when you spend like $1 you're here, when you spend $100 you're here, but when you spend $5,000 and you spend $10,000, you just move a little notch, okay? So remember that those first steps are big steps, and that's why they have such a big impact on your system. So let's dive in now these elements that I think are useful. Some are obvious, very obvious, but I do want to say them. I have to mention them. Okay, how to get access. I wrote a few notes here of high quality equipment, high fidelity. Clearly, the number one, the used market. Yes, do rely on that, because I know a lot of people are fixated, had this maniac approach that they must be the first owner. Well, put that when you're filthy rich. At the start, baloney. Just get something. And if you're good at it, if you know a little bit of electronics, you can repair also broken things, which will be very dirt cheap, okay? But that implies that you already know how to do things. Let's just get the normal student case or normal person that doesn't want to put too much money in this hobby in the beginning, this passion. I hate the word hobby. So the used market is just something fantastic, and I currently always try to use that. It is so rewarding. You have to be careful. You have to pay attention. You can't be 100% sure that something hasn't changed, okay? There might be some damage. They might have substituted some elements. But you kind of sense this sometimes when you're talking to the person. You've got to get to know the person. It's not an automatic transaction like getting an LP on Amazon and going to do something else. You have to stay there, try to understand who you have in front. If it's a person who is deeply involved in the hobby, he's interested, he's caring, he's asking you specific things. When you ask things, he gives you the right info. Clearly, when we're talking about stuff with not too many zeros behind the first number, don't worry. There's not going to be any problems or scams or things like that. When you start to go up, you have to pay attention, clearly. But there are mechanisms that they somehow utilize that protect you. So according where you go to buy these things. In any case, that is an excellent place to buy stuff very, very cheap in respect to the high price tags that you find for new stuff. This clearly brings us to two different aspects strictly connected. The second one, in fact, is XDemo stuff, XDemo gear, which is not exactly in the concept of used market. It is, but XDemo usually should be when stuff has been tried in shops. A lot of shops test stuff. Absolutely, they do conferences, lectures, and things like that. Or simply they want to test some things. They have to bring it around to fairs, magazines. So it's not just private people. It's also companies that are doing this. And you can find a lot of stuff very, very cheap at that point because they have to get rid of it. So maybe they're reviewing or something new came out just a few weeks or months, usually weeks after it was distributed, the shops have tried it, then they want to get rid of it. And you can find amazing prices there. Yes, it's used market, but it's a different type. And you're not going to find it that much on Hi-Fi Shark. If you don't know what Hi-Fi Shark, just search for it in Google. Hi-Fi Shark is the best motor to find used hi-fi gear, which is fantastic. But Hi-Fi Shark doesn't trace all the shops. Actually, shops are not that present. It's mainly eBay or other places where they put ads of used equipment. If you start to find or keep your eyes open to specific shops that have that little corner for used stuff, or others are dedicated only to used stuff, to XDemo, you will find great bargains, great catches, amazing catches at a fraction of the price with all the quality inside. Connected to this is the huge sector of vintage. Okay, now I don't include it in the used part, and not even in the XDemo clearly, because vintage can be a specific market. Actually, you can find places, you can find shops dedicated to vintage, online and physical shops. So, and it's a philosophy, and it's just a different route. Okay, it emerges with used because vintage is used by definition, but it's different. Once again, for example, my speakers, I got these speakers not from a private person. I got it from a hi-fi store in Abruzzo. So there is that different route, and I think that vintage is one of the best choices you can do. First of all, because in most cases it's cheap if they're not extremely famous stuff. But even if they are famous, compared to what similar current machines can do, like for example, if I had to go out and buy something like my Altic 19s with the horns and the drivers that way, and the finish of the walnut wood and things like that, it would cost like 10, 15, maybe 20,000, even more dollars, because I've searched for high efficiency speakers, sensitivity, let's say, and the prices are just insane. When you start creeping up in the vintage alley, oh boy, prepare yourself, because not only you really get your bang for the buck, as they say, but you really find also things that have a story, a sound that in most cases it's very hard to achieve today. That's more of an opinion, okay? I'm not saying this is the way it is. It's my opinion, but I really do. That's why a lot of components are going towards vintage, because I'm being convinced. It's not a philosophy. It's not a pre-decision I'm doing. No, I'm testing new stuff and old stuff, and a lot of this vintage stuff is just winning my heart, winning my soul over. Absolutely. Another important part to achieve high fidelity, have access to this stuff without spending too much money, is also the DIY section. Yes, and I rely this greatly for cables, because as you know, I hope you know, I did a ton of videos where I always state, please do not flush thousands and thousands of dollars down the toilet to get famous cables. You just have to know the type of materials, the insulation, conductivity, type of metals, connectors, all the different parts, and you can easily find all the elements and assemble them. Okay, I'm not telling you to go and quarry the iron or the copper clearly and make your own cables like that. No, You can find bulk cable much cheaper and then just do some soldering and sometimes not even that, and you have a top class product. And not only this, a lot of people do open baffle speakers with ease. There are kits out there that would cost really like, I don't know, $100,000. If you get the kit, it's like $10,000. Really, I've seen things like that because the kit just brings down all the expense. Well, maybe that example was a little too much, but I think you got the point. So on yourself, if you can do specific things, apart from tweaking, obviously, even different tweaks in your system, things that we've discussed on this channel as well, or room treatment done by your own. There's so many things that you can do by your own, by yourself, and that will greatly reduce your expense and increase the quality. Another interesting aspect to have access to this stuff is an auction. The auctions. Maybe this is obvious for a lot of people. It's not only eBay, mainly I would say, but for example, I got my Macintosh from an auction. Yes, I was a winner, and I did not pay the full price that it would require to go to a shop or a collector or someone and buy them from him. I got a very good price because not too many people were at that auction. So keep your eyes on auctions, okay? There's a lot of stuff that can go unseen. Hence, you just have to do your little bid and you will get fantastic stuff at a fraction of the price once again. Our final point, it's a little at the end, a little outside of this group, but I wanted to include it, is clearly exchange. I mean, you can have access to incredible stuff if you start to exchange. It's a little more difficult, but it can happen, and you can give something that maybe people were looking for something in exchange. So there's no transaction from a money point of view, only the goods. And at that point, you may get something that has more value, or simply that it was something that you were looking for, and both of you could be happy. This is something a little more difficult, but I would try to do that, follow that route sometimes. Especially, I would say, on Facebook. And on Facebook Market, there's a lot of stuff like that out there, and even the used market on Facebook. So don't go immediately to eBay. eBay is the most expensive of all. Check Hi-Fi Shark, but also Facebook and other things like that. And the local shops. Like, for example, remember I got my Master Sound for a fraction of the price? You just have to hunt and have a little bit of luck. Being in the right place at the right moment helps, clearly. Let's proceed. Well, our last point, I would say, maybe it's something stupid to say, but I wanted to say this. Please, if you're searching for high fidelity, also look for high quality recordings. I know, maybe this can seem obvious. So obvious that it's almost ridiculous to say this. But maybe someone is watching this video and hasn't even thought that there are, besides your favorite groups and composers or whatever it is, also specific records done in an incredible way, high quality recording, mixing and mastering. And those can really give you a different sensation, a different enjoyment of your system, just bring you at a different level when you start to appreciate certain things. I'm really moved but emotionally moved when I find components, or in this case, recordings, that are just done so well that they give you that sense, that materiality of an instrument, of a sound, that it just brings you happiness and joy. That's all about high fidelity. It's one of the main purposes, one of the main aspects, I would say, of high fidelity, besides the music itself, clearly. Okay, guys. So, recapping, I just want to cite something that happens quite often. A lot of times I go, well, not a lot of times, a few times it happened that I went to visit some people, or I would say also fairs, audiophile fairs, hi-fi fairs, but people with their systems which costs like an eye and a leg, I don't know, 100, 200, 300,000 dollars, euro. I mean, incredible money. And I was just embarrassed because it was so bad. Really, it's shocking how sometimes, even if you put a lot of money, the synergy of the system just doesn't work, or people didn't take into consideration the room, or they're just listening to crappy music. Well, that's less probable, but it does happen. So once again, if you do the right decisions and after you've studied, you searched, and you carefully assemble, there will be incredible results. So once again, hi-fi, being an audiophile, does not require a huge bank account. Absolutely. Thank you again for watching, and remember, music is born analog. Ciao belli!
Well guys, if you're enjoying my videos and you're enjoying my channel, please consider to subscribe by clicking the black and white logo here below. Also, don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll never miss an episode and you will become a true member of the analog community.